Landing a good man is very easy when you are in your prime and single, but difficult when you are a single mother. It's common knowledge that single mothers want good men for support, not love. Most women would not want a good man during their prime. During their prime, they would laugh in their face when good men ask them for a date. Good men become valuable to women after they become single mothers or are no longer in their prime. Most good men with money are very cautious as they do not want to lose half of it. With the divorce rate at 70% plus, they are better off staying single and loving themselves. A lot of good men are taking the red pill and living a happy single life.
I'm not going to lie or sugarcoat the truth, and even if the YouTube moderators will ban my video for not being politically correct, I'm still not going to back down. For me, it's a matter of self-respect. Let me tell you Greg's story. I've known Greg since kindergarten, of course. Greg isn't his real name, but for the sake of the story, I'll just call him that. Now, Greg was never successful with the ladies. He was pretty much your average dorky, stereotypical nerd reading comic books and playing video games all day long. He wasn't entirely unattractive, but he wasn't a hot stud either, more like on the plain, average Joe side. He lacked any athletic ability, but would often compensate with humor and a somewhat positive personality. Of course, that didn't account to much. Every girl he'd asked out would turn their noses up at him in exchange for dating the cooler, cocky, bad boy types. As a result of this constant rejection fueling his frustration, Greg ceased to ask anyone out ever again. So what happened? Many years later, Greg is now what you might call an aspiring entrepreneur. He lives in a state-of-the-art house designed by himself, equipped with many facilities such as a swimming pool, open bar, heck, even a home-in theater. He was never what you might call fat, but he did lose a lot of weight as he'd spent most of his late hours in the gym. He now drives a Corvette and earns more money than me, and honestly, I'm proud of being his friend because he's a really cool guy. We have a long history together after all. But Greg is nearly pushing the dreaded 30s. We stopped talking to each other for some time until we decided to head out to this local bar and catch up. We got so drunk one night that we started talking about dating and all that crap. Stuff that we wouldn't normally do. So he allegedly told me that he considered never pursuing a woman romantically ever again. When I asked him about it, he said something like, if they didn't accept me at my lowest point, why would they accept me now? At any rate, we would often act as each other's wingmen in the past, and he had plenty of hookups, but exclusive relationships are out of the question for him. Despite sounding confident in his decision, I could detect a very small amount of sadness when he openly debated his perspective. We were both intoxicated, but this question hollowed through my mind for many years, and it still does as I'm writing this. Why should he accept someone who might not make as much money as he does, who might not take care of her body as much as he does, someone who might be very physically attractive while having the personality of a brick? Men are not complicated creatures, although we do have standards and hate to break it to you, but the vast majority of us wouldn't date single mothers unless it was a last resort. Why would Greg, who spent the vast majority of his life working late hours and pushing himself to his limits, have to accept a woman who has a very high risk of carrying some sort of mental or moral defect? Truth be told, no one is obligated to pamper you or even shower you with compliments. Men are not obligated to date some women, like women aren't obligated to date some men either. And we don't need to give you a reason. Personally, I'm very much the definition of an asshole, and I don't regret it, because I'd rather be blunt than spend hours on this community trying to fix my language so it won't offend anyone. If you're offended by my language, that's too bad. That's more reason for you to stop watching if you don't like my approach. With all of that being said, I'm not saying all single mothers deserve to spend the rest of their lives celibate and miserable, because there are women out there who happen to be single mothers who are great and extremely decent people. Women who were stuck in abusive relationships, whose husbands had died, or a worst case scenario, were raped and decided to keep the child, but unfortunately, they're overshadowed by the majority who would only date up while having to compete with younger, more attractive girls who don't pack that much baggage. For these women, men are nothing but a convenience, a way to make ends meet. Nothing more. I understand there are women out there who have it tough. Women who are raising children on their own, while expecting nothing in return and hats off to every one of them. However, men or women, we hate baggage because with baggage comes issues, and personally, I'm not in the mood for that. I'm also fully aware there are many loser men out there who expect to date only 10s while they shouldn't be raising the bar so high. I'm also aware that many single fathers are both commended and condemned at the same time. I'm not saying we should follow a certain paradigm such as single parents dating exclusively each other and sticking with our own leagues. Nothing of that sort. We are free to choose whomever we want without being looked down on or laughed at. So it all boils down to this. Call me selfish all you want, but unless these women aspire to be a better version of themselves while having respect and consideration for me, then I'm not going to settle down just so they can dump their emotional baggage on me. This is 2023, and most of us have the freedom to make our own decisions. But with those decisions come consequences. While I hate lumping all single mothers together, I would argue that most of their life choices are not that trustworthy, so as men, we have a tendency to stay away, to put it delicately. So I'd rather keep my self-respect and dignity intact. So no, stay away from single mothers. You should avoid single mothers. There is a myth that single mothers are single due to the original father being trash. This is false. Most single mothers are single due to infidelity and poor impulse control. Most single mothers are divorced with the father still part of their lives on some level. 70% of divorces are filed by women. Most of the reasons women file for divorce are due to flaky, dishonorable reasons such as incompatibility, wasn't supportive of career, or lack of communication. And the legal system is unfairly biased towards the mother when it comes to custody. When men file for divorce, most of the time it is for infidelity, the wife causing financial problems, the wife being bitchy and withholding sex. Abusive husbands and drug users are few and far between. Knowing this, is it wise to marry a woman who has a history of divorce? Is it wise to marry a woman and financially support another man's children? No, it is very stupid. If you want children, have your own. Don't save a woman from her own poor behavior. Landing a good man is very easy when you are in your prime and single, but difficult when you are a single mother. It's common knowledge that single mothers want good men for support, not love. Most women would not want a good man during their prime. During their prime, they would laugh in their face when good men ask them for a date. Good men become valuable to women after they become single mothers or are no longer in their prime. Most good men with money are very cautious as they do not want to lose half of it. With a divorce rate at 70% plus, they are better off staying single and loving themselves. A lot of good men are taking the red pill and living a happy single life. Anyway, that's all for today on Manhood. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe buttons, and also click on the notification bell to be the first to know when I drop a new video. If you find value in my videos, you can show your support through PayPal or Cash App. The links are in the description. See you next time.